test that I'm ready to administer from the Home or Overview page. I'll look under Assessments and click on Administer. Once I'm there, I'll see the test titles of the tests that are available. If I have a lot of tests available, I can use the search bar or filters or combination of both to help narrow down the test titles available. For example, if I have a teacher test, I can click on Teacher Test, and if I know that it was Spring in the title, I can type in Spring and narrow down to the test that I'm looking for. Once I've located the test, I'm ready for the next step, enabling online testing. Once I've located the test that I want from Test Available, I'm ready to enable online testing. I'll notice that it's not enabled yet because this text is still black, and when it's enabled, it's blue. So I'll scroll over here to Online Test Proctoring icon. I'll click on this icon. When I see the green check and the font change to blue, I will notice that this is ready and enabled for online testing. Once I've enabled online testing, I'm ready to review or set online supports. I'll click on the test title, and I'll select the period or class that's ready for testing. I'll notice that by the student name, the supports are listed as well. If I've already set up supports at the beginning of the year to apply for all tests throughout the year, I'll just want to double check that those are still correct. If I've not set any supports up, I'll use the pencils to add the supports that I want by clicking the pencil, toggling on the supports, and clicking Save. We recommend that you check the supports every test, every time, for each student to confirm that those supports are correct. If a support has changed, you can add it by clicking on the pencil. For example, if this student that receives text-to-speech, content clarifiers, and spelling assistance just qualified for speech-to-text as well, I can click the pencil, toggle on speech-to-text, and click Save. If a student raises their hand during testing and says that one of their online supports is not available, you check on your test proctor screen and realize it is not there, it says none. You can click the pencil, toggle on their supports, click Save, and then have the student refresh their page. They should see that support on their online testing screen. Once you've reviewed and set online supports for each student, you're ready to begin making the test available for students. Now that I've enabled online testing and confirmed supports for each student, I'm ready to make the test available to students. So again, for my test available screen, I'll open the test, select the class period or subject I'm ready to test for. You'll notice that we're on online test proctoring now. I can check Select All, get all students in that class period, or I can check a few students that need to test and click Start All or Start Selected depending on what I need. Once I've selected the students ready for testing, I'll click Start All. Now the test is available for students in Aware Online Testing. Students can either sign in through the Eduphoria Lockdown browser on the Waffle app on Chromebooks, or you can copy the student login URL here. Click on Copy, and then paste it in to Google Classroom or Word doc somewhere students can access that. Once students have access to the test, you'll be able to begin online test proctoring. Once I've made the test available for students, I can now start monitoring testing online. So on my online test proctoring screen, I can see at the top by my period that I'm in, how many total students are testing in this session, how many have not started, are inactive, in progress, or completed. The color coding here also tells me about the status of each student. Then I can look at each individual student to see who is where in the process. So our first student here has completed the test. I know this because it's marked green and completed. Green does not mean it has been graded. It just means it's been finished and turned in by the student. Graded would be blue, and it would say graded. Green means completed because I need to go back and grade the teacher graded portion of the test. My next student is in progress. That means the student is currently working on the test. And the third student here is inactive. That means the student started the test but had to exit the testing session. Could have been that they had to leave early or step into another class. And then I can see my students who have not started with the gray not started section. So I'll need to go check in with them to see what's going on and if they need any help getting started. I can leave this screen open during testing and it will continue to refresh. If I need to click refresh, I can also do that option at the top. When testing is complete for the day but needs to be restarted later, instruct students to use the Exit Test button on their testing window. That will help them log out and save any work they've done. Teachers need to use the Stop All button. When testing is done for the day but needs to be restarted later, I'll click Stop All. Once I click the Stop All button from the proctoring window, it ends testing immediately for all students. It can also be used for suspending testing on Tuesday, for example, if a student needs to resume testing on Wednesday. Again, to resume testing the next day, you'll click the Start All or Start Selected. In the event that you need to force submit a test for a student who has not turned in their online test, you can use the End Test button. To end the test, click on the End Test button, and you'll see this reminder. Notice that you never want to end the test when a student is actively taking an online assessment, especially if they're just temporarily disconnected from a server. If for any reason a student has lost connectivity, leave the browser open until the connection is restored. Again, you're only using the End Test option when a student fails to submit their answer and is no longer taking the test. Remember that you'll use the Stop All option for tests that need to be available for students the next day at a later time. If I do want to go ahead and end test, for example, in this case, my student was inactive. They had finished testing, but they just never submitted it. I want to go ahead and click End Test. So I'll click End Test now. It's going to show again that this test has been completed because there was a teacher graded answer on here, a short constructed response. So I'll need to go grade it on my side now. Notice that once I've gone back in to grade the test, it'll be marked as graded on my online test proctor screen as well. In the event that a student needs to reopen the test because perhaps they have accidentally submitted the online test before they completed it, you can click on the Reopen button on your test proctoring screen. Once you click Reopen, it'll show as the student not starting the test yet. Go ahead and make sure that they can get in on their end and begin.